I guess it boils down to personal taste, but I didn't really care for it all that much.
No one cares about your robot fan fiction.
Otherwise, are you well, Marjonetters, Marjoners, and Marjonatinos? Welcome to Wharrgarbl Studios. My name is Will, and this is the audio trip.
Oh no, now I'm tripping balls!
Where we try and educate ourselves on all things hi-fi and hopefully assist you with your buying decisions in the process.
Do you have it? I found it. Where is it? Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Today we're looking at something a little bit different than what we've looked at the past. A headphone amplifier, specifically the Fiio E10K. Fiio is a Chinese manufacturer specializing in headphone-oriented equipment, and the E10K is their entry-level amplifier in an extensive lineup of products.
Look at all those chickens!
But I bet the first thing you've got on your mind is, why would I need to throw my money away on a headphone amplifier?
Why?
I'm a dumbass.
When I can just plug my headphones into my computer, or if you're lucky enough to still have one, into the jack in my phone, and just pump my beats until my heart's content. Well, in actual fact, both your cell phone and your computer have both amplifiers and digital to analog converters, otherwise known as DACs, built in.
Oh my god!
But these are mass manufactured products that are trying to hit as many bases as possible with the feature sets that they provide to consumers. And as such, compromises are inevitable.
Never compromise. Never blink.
An area of increasing compromise being the audio capabilities of such devices. And in fact, it's no secret that the growing trend at the moment, particularly with regards to cell phones, is simply to just do away with this functionality entirely.
Yeet? What's a yeet?
Yeet!
And make you purchase a separate Bluetooth audio solution that locks you into the ecosystem and just makes you spend more money.
You're not an intellectual, you're a fake and a fraud!
Another option that you may have at your disposal is to purchase an outboard amplifier, which will not only have higher quality components that will improve your listening experience,
There's nothing wrong with Android, we have the best quality.
but also be far more powerful as well. And as such, it will allow you to explore more expensive and power-hungry headphones while you're at it. But just like anything audio, you can spend stupid amounts of money on headphone amplifiers.
I want to feel like it's raining on me, okay?
And I wanted to see if Fio's entry-level offering could provide appreciable gains over the headput-output
What the hell did you just say?
over something like a conventional Mac Mini headphone output.
Get on the bottom, you basic bitch.
Alright, fine.
As with our previous AKG52 review, we're going to be breaking this up into 5 separate parts. The build quality of the amplifier, the feature set provided, its ability to assist with soundstage and imaging, the overall sound quality and tonality that it imparts, and final subjective thoughts. Just a note on the sources that we used throughout the testing. So I used both our budget golden boys, the Samsung SR 850s, as well as the AKG 52s to test the performance of the amplifier. Tracks were played using Apple Music in a lossless audio format using a Mac Mini. And the output of the headphones coming through the amplifier were compared to the output of the headphone out just from the Mac as is.
Welcome to science!
My understanding is that Macs have traditionally had reasonable quality DACs and headphone amplification.
Damn! That shit good!
In the past, so I thought it would be a good test to see if getting an external amplifier really was a worthwhile upgrade.
Which he spells thusly. With 2 Ds, as he says, for a double dose of this pimping.
If you're using more sensitive and more affordable headphones. So let's start off with talking about the build quality. So this thing feels very sturdy, right? It feels well built and it has an all-metal construction. The design's quite nice and sleek. I don't know if you can see in the light, but it's got a really nice brushed metal finish. There's some nice aesthetic lines going along the side of it. And as much as it does look quite nice,
Nice.
I think it would be cool if it came in some other colors, like I think a silver or a rose gold or a copper might be quite cool, something that sort of harks back to the glory days of hi-fi in the 70s. It comes with rubberized feet on the bass that you can attach yourself to sort of make sure that once you've moved it in place, it's not going to be sliding around. This is something that you are absolutely going to need, and this leads me to my one criticism of this amplifier's build, is that this thing is so damn light. I mean, look at this, right?
Are they helium balloons? I told you, the car's not here for helium balloons. It's too late. Oh, we're flying away.
I mean, it weighs practically nothing. So much, or so little in fact, that the tension in the USB cable that you use to connect it to a computer will be enough to shift this thing around. And it's a good thing that it's well built, because if you're not careful, you're going to be dropping this thing a lot.
Oopsies.
That leads me to talk about the feature set of the amplifier. And using this amp could not be more straightforward, right? You connect it to your computer using the provided USB cable, and this provides both power and signal. I have the previous generation USB, but there's since been a version that allows for a USB-C connection, which is awesome. But I mean, I still think there's good value in the previous version because they're typically being sold for quite a lot less now.
You ain't got no money. Woo!
Aside from USB, there's no other sources. So if you'd like to use the Fiio with something else, like a CD player or an analog source like a record player, you're out of luck there.
Oh, god damn it, bitch, why?
So if you have a look at the front of the device, you'll see that there is a single large volume dial. There is a lamp to tell you when you've turned the amplifier on that glows bright blue.
That's why I love Nestle Crunch.
There is a bass boost switch. And there's a 3.5mm input jack to allow you to plug your headphones in. So the volume knob feels quite nice to turn. It's got a nice satisfying click when it turns on and off.
I just flip the switch. I don't know nobody.
Honestly, it doesn't feel like it's going to be giving up anytime soon. The bass boost switch on the front, if I'm reading Fio's website correctly and the graphs that they provide, suggests that engaging the bass boost,
Engage, 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 engage,
which is also super satisfying to click.
I just flip the switch. I don't know nobody.
The bass boost provides a 6 dB boost to all the frequencies below 500 Hz. And this is also an informative graph, right, which I'll be displaying on the screen now, which suggests that the frequency response output by the amplifier is largely flat and neutral. Unfortunately, you can't use larger headphone jacks with these. If you do have the larger 6 millimeter, 6.5.
Oh my.
I can't remember. Millimeter jack with these, you're going to have to get an adapter. And if we turn the amplifier around, you'll see that we have a
Booty out. It's booty out. Booty out. Booty out.
line out, which I think is a pretty cool feature. You have a coax out, which I think is a stupid feature.
You're a dumbass.
You have a switch, which allows you to select between a high and a low gain setting, and you just have the USB input. So the reason why I really like the line out is because it allows you to use this just as a DAC. And say if you've got a piece of audio equipment like a hi-fi that doesn't have its own digital analog conversion capabilities, you can take the signal straight out of this and feed it to that system to play music on a larger scale if you want. The gain stage switch, I assume, allows you to increase the amount of power that the headphone amplifier outputs to deal with more power-hungry headphones. The coax out, I feel, is a little bit strange because I'm not quite sure when it would actually be useful. and maybe this is just my ignorance, but the only thing I can see it being valuable for is if you wanted to use your computer as an audio source for systems that only have a coaxial input. But I feel that that's relatively uncommon, and actually I think an extra set of analog inputs here would be a super cool addition.
Like totally tubular.
The website claims, or Fiio's website claims rather, that you can use headphones with impedances between 16 and 150 ohms. Now let's talk about the soundstage and imaging. So when listening to the same tracks on both sets of headphones, the Samsons as well as the AKGs, through the Fiio, and comparing that to the output directly from the Mac, I noticed a more spacious and three-dimensional presentation.
That's quite big. Impressive.
There was a much greater separation between instruments, and there was also a much greater sense of dynamics. I barely had to turn the amplifier on to drive the Samsons to a good listening volume. And speaking about the dynamics, drum solos in particular were awesome to listen to. So the playing dynamics exhibited on Jimmy Smith's 1972 live recording Root Down had some of the most engaging drumming that I think I've heard when using this amplifier. Talking about the overall sound quality and how the amplifier impacts sound, after spending some time with the Fiio,
Oh, she's drooling on me.
I have to agree with the company's assessment that the amplifier is largely neutral with relatively little tonal coloration.
What are your thoughts on this momentous occasion? Your neutralness?
I have no strong feelings one way or the other.
The bass feels a tad bit tighter with a greater high-end definition, and overall the mid-range remaining neutral when using the Fiio over the Mac output. However, when I experimented with the bass boost switch on the front, I found it to add a lot of low-end weight.
But I'm dummy thick, and the clap of my ass cheeks keeps alerting the guards.
But not much definition to that low end. It made things sound very woofy at times, and woolly.
She's simply removing herself from any situation that doesn't vibrate her soul.
And I don't really sort of know when something like this might be useful. Maybe if you're using particularly anemic headphones, it might be worthwhile. And I mean, I guess it boils down to personal taste, but I didn't really care for it all that much.
No one cares about your robot fan fiction.
One thing to note here, which I thought was quite interesting, was that the differences were much more obvious between the AKGs and the Samsons in terms of tonality, dynamics, and spatial factors when using the Fiio over just using the straight output from the Mac. It accentuated the differences between these two headphones and made them more noticeable. So you can really pick out the fun V-shaped character of the Samsons in contrast to the neutrality of the AKGs. And I must say that using this amplifier with the AKGs really softened my perspective on those headphones, at least from a tonality perspective.
Look at that face. Look at that face.
I know in my previous review I didn't exactly have complimentary things to say about what I referred to as the boxy mid-range, but when using the Fiio, it didn't seem to bother me all that much. And I must admit, the imaging prowess of those AKGs with the additional imaging provided by the Fiio really made for a very engaging listening experience. Before we dig into our final subjective thoughts on this amplifier, I'd just like to remind you guys that if you enjoy the content that we make here, it would be really awesome if you could give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We post weekly, as well as posting shorts throughout the week. And if you'd like to be notified when those videos come out, don't forget to smash the bell.
Very!
So, final subjective thoughts on this amplifier. Honestly, at this price point, there's very little to complain about.
Took it too far this time, what? Fuck on.
Aside from it being a little bit on the light side, the build quality is excellent, and the feature set really sort of ticks all the boxes of someone who's just getting into the gig.
Please, I don't have any time for any gossip now. Eh? Yes.
I think it has enough power on tap to serve the needs of someone like me who's starting to explore the realms of hi-fi, with some decent room to grow. I do feel that if you wanted to drop some serious money on some headphones, like into the thousands, you'd probably have to provision some extra cash for an upgraded amplifier as well. Overall, the changes that the amplifier imparts are minor and subtle, but they're overall positive, and the neutral character of the amplifier means that it's largely your headphones which are the ultimate arbiter of the listenability of your music.
The sound quality is great.
I like this amplifier, and I can really recommend it to someone who's looking to purchase a solution like this within the price bracket.
You see, a pimp's love is very different from that of a square.
So that's our review of the Fiio E10K. What do you think? Do you own this amplifier? Do you agree with our assessment, or are we talking absolute crap? Let us know in the comments section below, and let us know, are there other solutions in this price point that you think are worthwhile checking out? Please follow us on our socials. You can find links to those in the description below. We're currently quite active on Twitter and TikTok. Just one final reminder that if you've enjoyed this content, please give us a like and subscribe. And with that, don't forget to book your seat on the next audio trip.